Now, I often say this. I don't know where I heard David Foster Wallace say this, but he said that the key to life is to be unborable. That is the embodiment of this philosophy. And when people ask me for advice, like young students, I don't find this interesting. I don't find this interesting. How do I find the thing I'm passionate for? This would be very interesting to explore, because you kind of say that may not be a realizable thing to do, which is to be unborable. But my advice usually is life is amazing. Like you should strive to discover the joy, the levitation in everything. Yeah. And the thing you get stuck on for a longer period of time, that might be the thing you should stick to. But everything should be full of joy. So that kind of cynicism of saying life is boring is a thing that will prevent you from discovering the thing that will give you deep meaning and joy. But you're saying being unborable is not actionable for a human being.
So, okay, excellent question, deep question. And the you might think, because of the title of the book that Bert and I wrote, All Things Shining, mm-hmm. that I think all things are shining. And but actually, I think it's an unachievable goal to be unborable. I do believe that you're right, that a lot of times when people are bored with something, it's because they haven't tried hard enough. Mm-hmm. And I do think quite a lot of what makes people bored with something is that they haven't paid attention well enough, mm-hmm. and that they haven't listened, as you were saying. So I do think there's something to that. I think that's a deep insight. On the other hand, the perfection of that insight is that nothing is ever anything less than joyful. Mm-hmm. And I actually think that Dostoevsky and Melville both agree, but in very different ways, that life involves a wide range of moods, and that all of them are important. It involves grief. Like, I think when someone dies, it's appropriate to grieve. And it's not in the first instance joyful. It's related to joy because it makes the joys you feel when you feel them more intense. But it makes them more intense by putting you in the position of experiencing the opposite. Mm-hmm. And it's only because we're capable of a wide range of passionate responses to situations that I think the significances can be as meaningful as they are. So Melville, again, has this sort of interest. I mean, let's just say the guilt and the grief in the brothers Karamazov. Alyosha loses his mentor, Father Zosima. He's grieving. It's super important that he's grieving. He has a religious conversion on the basis of grieving, where he sees the sort of deep sort of beauty of everything that is, but it comes through the grief, mm-hmm. not by avoiding the grief. And Melville says something like, Ishmael says something like, he says, I'm like a Catskill mountain eagle, the Catskills mountains nearby, he says, who's sort of flying high above the earth, going over the peaks and down into the valleys. I have these ups and these downs, but they're all invested with a kind of significance. They all happen at an enormously high height because it's through the mountains that I'm flying. And even when I'm down, it's a way of being up. Mm-hmm. But it's really down. It's just that it's a way of being up because it makes the ups even upper.
Well, I guess then the perfectionism of that can be destructive. I mean, I tend to see, for example, grief, a loss of love as part of love, in that it's a celebration of the richness of feelings you had when you had the love. So it's like it's all part of the same experience. But if you turn it into an optimization problem where everything can be unborable, then that can in itself be destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah.